Bernie Sanders is closing the gap in early states and remains the most favorable candidate running for the Democratic Party nomination. So let me show you some of this morning consult data, which I think for some people, if you have not been paying attention, is going to be a little eye-opening for you. So this is who's leading right now. So Biden, of course, still on top with 30%, but you got Bernie there, close, somewhat close second, with 21%. Warren down at 15, and then the race kind of falls off. Buttigieg, Kamala Harris, Yang, and it goes down. But this is actually what I find the most interesting here. Early primary state voters. So you have Joe Biden now at 26, Bernie Sanders just 3 points away at 23%. Also keeping in mind, all polling in general often skews towards older generation voters, skews towards traditional voters and not non-voters. A lot of Bernie's support is from the young and from non-voters. So look, it's hard to quantify that stuff, but keeping that in mind when looking at any of these polls, in general, I think Bernie has stronger numbers than it actually appears in most polls. But with that said, he's close here to Joe Biden with 23%. Now, there's something else I want to share here based on that data point. And that's the difference. So if I bring this a little over here. So in the early states, since October, Biden has gone down 5 points. Bernie plus 9. Way more than anybody else here. So Bernie's gone up 9 points over the course of a month. Warren's gone down 1. Steyer, who I'm surprised is even that high, has gone down 1. Buttigieg plus 2. Yang plus 4. Harris down 3. Again, showing you where the momentum is. I feel like every week I have a video about Bernie's momentum, but that's because he has momentum. Over the past month, he has been growing in support. More on this. So this is the early state difference since the debate. So before the debate, you had so Biden's gone down in a week, down 3 points in a week. So pre-debate, he was up 3. Post-debate, down 3. Sanders up 5 since the debate. Warren up 1. Steyer up 1. Buttigieg down 2. Yang up 2. Harris down 2. Bloomberg down 1. And Klobuchar not moving. So even though the mainstream press, including in that debate, tried to push Pete Buttigieg out there, Buttigieg lost support since the debate. Klobuchar, who also is getting way too much airtime, has stayed the same at 2%. Whereas, again, Bernie Sanders, I guess, came off the best in that debate as he's the one here who jumped the most in support. But we're not done. Let me scroll down to a bit of this here. So this is just tracking over time. This is so the national polling. So you see Biden here kind of staying the same a lot, but he's going down more recently. Warren is dropping off a lot, and Bernie is going up while Biden's coming down. Now, if you are guessing that, hey, are some of Biden's second choice, or are some of Biden's supporters, is their second choice Bernie Sanders? You would be correct. So looking at second choice, or second choices here, Biden supporters, second choice selections, Bernie Sanders, 28% of them say Bernie Sanders, 22% of them say Warren, 12% of them say Pete Buttigieg. So that means if Biden continues to drop, it's going to help Bernie Sanders the most. Sanders supporters, this is, I guess, no surprise. Their second choice is Elizabeth Warren. It is kind of surprising to me that 27% of them, their second choice is Joe Biden. So that, again, skews to the older voters. This also shows you how these polls skew older, because anybody under 40 looking at that number thinks, no way. Somebody as a Bernie supporter, their second choice is not Joe Biden. But a lot of that support, a lot of this polling skews older generation. So Bernie is getting a lot of that support right now, and he can continue to get a lot of Biden support because he is the second choice for many Biden supporters. And then Andrew Yang, Kamala Harris, oddly tied there at 7% for second choice for Sanders supporters. Warren's second choice, or I should say, people that support Warren, their second choice. Bernie Sanders by far 31%, 11% up on Joe Biden at 20%, and Pete Buttigieg at 17%. So this also shows you as Warren goes down, as both Biden and Warren drop, it helps Bernie Sanders the most. Looking at Buttigieg supporters, this is not surprising to me. Their second choice is Joe Biden, and then Elizabeth Warren, really close behind, then Kamala Harris. Again, showing you that a lot of the support that Warren had recently that made her jump in support, a lot of that support is weak support, meaning it can go between various candidates. So a lot of that support is older voters, is wealthy voters. A lot of them support Buttigieg now, so maybe they supported Warren before. Now they're supporting Buttigieg. So that vote moves around a lot. It was with Kamala Harris at one point, then Warren, then Buttigieg. We'll see if it's going to stay with Buttigieg or go somewhere else. But if it goes somewhere else, it'll go to Joe Biden or potentially Elizabeth Warren again, or again, Kamala Harris. Though I don't see Kamala Harris lasting much longer here. Though it shows you here, Harris supporters. So once Harris goes down, which I feel like it's going to happen soon, a lot of her support will go to Elizabeth Warren, some to Joe Biden, and surprisingly enough, some to Bernie Sanders here. Yes, this piece, I almost forgot. Tracking name recognition and favorability. This kind of speaks for itself. Who is the most favorable candidate? Bernie Sanders. 75% here. Joe Biden down at 68%. Elizabeth Warren down at 63%. Kamala Harris 53%. Bloomberg. I mean, why is Bloomberg in this position in this list? But Bloomberg here at 31%. Cory Booker 48%, and then it kind of goes down from there. Deval Patrick. So let's just look. Deval Patrick's favorability is lower than Marianne Williamson. All right, so there you go. Why is Deval Patrick in this race? So again, this is the kind of thing that matters for a general election. You need somebody who is likable. I mean, you saw this in 2016. Bernie had the highest favorables out of anybody in the race, but Hillary won the primary, and you had her go up against Donald Trump, two of the most unliked people ever to go up against each other in a general election, and Hillary lost. Bernie Sanders would be able to consolidate the vote. He'd be able to get out a lot of people, especially a lot of non-voters and young people, to get out and vote for him. And not only just vote for him, but get them out canvassing, get them out phone banking, get them out knocking on doors, get them out donating. I mean, Bernie's support comes from the people, which goes to why his favorability is so high, because he is a man of the people. They know who he is. They've seen his 40-year record of fighting for the same thing, of fighting for the average person. You have that in a candidate go up against a Republican in 2020, it will be a blowout. You just have to get him through the primary. He has to win the primary. Again, many states are closed states. You can't vote unless you're a registered Democrat. That's a huge issue for someone like Bernie Sanders, where a lot of his support comes from independents and non-voters. So that is why ensuring people are registered, ensuring your friends and family are registered. Again, I think it's voteforbernie.org is the website. You go there, it tells you when to register, the deadline dates, all that stuff, and it'll help you get prepared to vote for Bernie in the primary. But we ain't done. Let's look at this. Which candidate do you trust the most when it comes to handling health care? Bernie Sanders, 29%, clearly on top here. Biden, 21, Warren, 19, Buttigieg, 5. So this is a Kaiser Family Foundation poll. And this is a more recent one. I mean, I've done stories on other polls from other people that say the same thing, that show Sanders as the most trusted on healthcare. So it's not just, this isn't just one poll. This is a pattern of behavior when it comes to this polling. Bernie is the most trusted on healthcare, and not even just healthcare. You look up a Daily Beast article that covered this. Bernie Sanders topped the most trustworthy candidate on on the economy, on healthcare. Actually, it was on every single policy issue. Bernie Sanders is the most trusted. Yet, you look at the other poll, oh, who's electable? And because a lot of the people polled watch cable news, they think, oh, Bernie's not electable, even though universally this man is loved. Universally, we see him as the one that we trust the most on all these policy issues. But no, not electable because Morning Joe, Mika Brzezinski, and Joe Scarborough told me Bernie Sanders can't win, even though every single data point shows you the opposite. I'm not done. One more link right here. This kind of sums up everything and what Bernie Sanders is. Which candidate do you think cares the most about people like you? Sanders, 24%, Biden, 19%. Sanders, again, highest here in terms of candidate that cares the most about you. This is not surprising. Again, if you pay attention to this poll or polling on this, this isn't the first poll to say this. Other polls have shown the same thing. This is a more recent one, Quinnipiac. Previous polls have shown the same thing. Bernie Sanders is polled as a candidate that people care or that people think cares the most about them. And you can kind of see why. Anytime he's on a debate stage, he's a normal dude. He has a 40-year record of fighting for people. He has said the same thing forever. He actually cares about people. He's not doing this to be famous. I mean, most people didn't know who Bernie Sanders was till 2016. That proves to you that Bernie has never looked for the spotlight. His whole purpose in life has been to help people. So you have this candidate now rise up over the last 4 years, grow this movement. He is best positioned to not only win, but to actually transform the entire country with a movement of people behind him.